Hello, everybody, and welcome to OpenExO Live. It's so great to be here today. Today, we have Paul Epping, who's calling in from Dubai. And as you can see on the screen, we have some amazing people coming up in the weeks that are coming. So Paul is, as I said, from Dubai. And before we get to chat to Paul, I asked a few of our community members just to share a little bit about Paul, and I'm going to share that with everybody now. So to start off, we have a message from Sahar, and she just says, exceptional leader, problem solver, and futurist. Paul introduced me to the OpenExO community in early 2019. I have been very fortunate to work with Paul last year. He is one of the most forward-thinking individuals I know. Next up, we have Ralph. And he says, Paul keeps surprising me with unique and applicable insights into EXOs. His mind seems to be in 10x thinking mode all the time. And he combines that with a Dutch no-nonsense approach to deliver real value to clients. Next up, we have from Dr. Arndt. Paul is a relentless innovator and esteemed collaborator with a passion for change and the ability to build bridges towards a positive future. His strength lies in connecting with people and helping them to cross the chasm from now to the desired state. Next, we have from Jabin. Paul is one of the long-time members of the OpenExO community that I respect and admire the most. He is a consummate professional who is at the same time heart-centered and generous with his wisdom and expertise. Paul continually amazes me with the depth and breadth of his experience and his boundless energy in juggling so many worthwhile and meaningful initiatives that he is involved in within and beyond the community. We then have from Sol, what I love about working with Paul is his ability to see things from new, innovative, and often divergent perspectives, which is often different to the traditional way of approaching a problem. This ability often leads to insights others, including myself, would not have seen otherwise and are immensely valuable. And then lastly, from Diego, we have, I often explain that one of the reasons I am part of this community is accelerated learning. We learn faster because we are surrounded by generous and non-conformist minds. Paul Epping is the epitome. I can't thank him enough for being one of my intellectual sparrings inside the community over the years. Pay close attention to Paul because there will be gold nuggets in his words. So those are some of the comments from the community. There were far too many. Paul has been around for a long time and has worked with many of the community. So it's a great honor to welcome you, Paul. Paul, welcome. How are you doing today?
Wow, I have to recover a little bit of all these nice words. You know, I'm impressed, and I'm very humble in taking that in. But it is amazing how people see you as a community member. Thank you for that, all of them. I really appreciate it.
It's an absolute pleasure, Paul. So, Paul, if you could just start today with a little bit of story about a bit of your background, so that people who are watching can know that, and then also if you can give a bit of insight into how you came into the community, and then we'll get into our discussion where we have some questions that are prepared, but who knows where we'll go. And if you're watching this, please do write a question or a comment in the chat on whichever platform you're on. We will be able to see that, and we will be on the lookout for that. So, Paul, if you can just let us know about your background.
So, I'm a long background in my history. My roadmap is not really straight. So I started as a clinician, then I studied psychology and philosophy, and I thought, well, the world is changing, so why not studying information technology? So that's basically what I do, these 4 things. And I combined it a little bit. And I've been a lecturer, associated professor in several universities. And one of the things that I was teaching was about innovation and information technology. And I saw the world changing around me, but I did not really have the vocabulary and the tools to really understand what was going on. And in that early days, I read the white paper, and I'm talking about the end of the 90s, the white paper written by Ray Kurzweil, The Law of Accelerating Returns. And I thought, well, wow, yeah, that's actually what I was missing. And so that changed my thinking about what was going on with technology. And once his book was published in 2005, I read it practically in one breath, and I met him in 2008 in Denmark, and there he at a conference, and there he announced that they would start the Singularity University. So, and I thought, well, I'm the first who's going there, and but I couldn't make it the first 2 times, I think. So, but then I went there in the early days, very intimate, not more than 40 people, and so we had really interesting conversations, discussions whatsoever, and that really was a kind of fast push, if you will, into a completely new direction. And that is what I did. I met in the early days. I met Salim. We kind of stayed in touch with each other, and when he was writing the book. In the Netherlands, I met, I knew Yuri Vageest pretty well. So we hooked up quite a bit, talked a lot about this stuff. And then I moved through my work, whatever, long story short, I moved to Dubai, and I met Salim in Dubai. I was chapter lead of the Singularity University here in Dubai. And I met Salim and asked him, hey, can you help me to understand a little bit how I could organize this chapter here? So, and from one thing, we went into the other thing, and he said, "Oh, come on, you need to be in our community." And so I started to work closely with the community in the very early days, and did the trainings and whatsoever. And that's where I am now at the moment.
Okay, that's great. I've just put on screen just a comment from one of the community members as well. Just thanking you, Paul. So Paul, if we look at the world, right, society is in need of change. So yeah. how does exponential thinking, the EXO model, all of this actually help us get there?
Well, that the world is in change is quite obvious. If and I don't know if the EXO work in itself and by itself is the only answer, and I think it is not, of course, but it is a important leverage to get society in a different direction, which is needed. So the way how we approach it, and if I'm talking about we, then it is Exponential EQ, that is the company that Tarek and I founded here, is that we are trying to change companies, and through companies we hope that we can change economies. And while you are changing economies, you will change societies. We all know, and I don't want to talk too much about it, but that the GDP, what is the biggest denominator of our economy, doesn't mean anything. If you really do a deep dive in that, then you think, well, what the hell are we doing? And why are we making ourselves so dependent on a model that is really not working? Scientifically rubbish. And if we can stop it today, we should do that, because it brings us really to the abyss of to the edge of the abyss, and that is where we are at the moment. Because the result is not only that we created wealthy environments, but we created tremendous inequality. And lastly, and that is probably the most important thing, that is, well, even our COVID crisis cannot even stand a little bit in the shadow of climate change. And we keep not focusing enough on that. And that is our last resort. If we continue with what we are doing, that last resort is over, end of the story. And we see that every day again. And the stupidities that I see around me, excuse my words, but I really get a little bit bored of it. That is that people are talking about new normal. And the whole world is running after the new normal that McKinsey brought in our society. Stop with that nonsense. There is no new normal. Normal means that something is normal. Well, what is that normal? That normal is something that will be predictable. That's included in that word. Instead of that, you should focus on the reality around you. And if you call that a new reality, that's all fine. All those buzzwords, I don't like it. So you have to be adaptable to the reality that is happening now. And but most of the companies are not able to do that because they are flying blind. They are blindfolded. And if you are blindfolded, what happens? What happens is that you use your hands to touch around you what's going on. And it is not longer than arm length. That is the view of blindfolded companies. And sometimes they have a stick, they can reach a little bit further, but still it's not far enough. But what at the same time happens, if you are blindfolded, and think about it, you are going inside yourself. You are trying to understand in yourself where I'm walking, how I'm doing, what I'm touching, and try to understand what that is, what you are touching, for instance. So you are in yourself. And that is happening with companies. Due to this corona crisis, companies are now tending to go inside themselves and see what can be improved in our own company. And what is the top number one that is happening at the moment? Cost savings. And who are in charge today of the companies? The CFO. And instead of taking off your blindfolded cotton thing or what you have on, and look outside what is going on. And that is what is not happening enough. Because that next step, that trying to thrive in that new future, in that reality, is not happening. What we are doing, and that is the normal, we are going back to what was. And what we are trying to do to go back to what was a little bit faster. So we are moving back instead of forward. And the big thing that is happening, sorry, Kevin, the last thing is that a lot of companies are transforming digitally. That means we are in digital transformation. Digital transformation, as you really talk about it, is transforming or digitizing current processes. So what we already did, we do now a little bit faster. But the outcome of that, is that really needed? Probably not. And that's why I like the work that we are doing, is moving into a exponential transformation, meaning that you are using different mindsets to deal with that reality that is changing every day.
Yeah, absolutely, Paul. What I wanted to say and comment to what you were saying is that so many people are just missing such a great opportunity, right? Because of that inward look. And Yaroslav often talks about how digital transformation is just a ticket into the game. Everyone thinks that's the end point, but it's not, because by digitizing current processes, you're not moving forward at all. You sort of maybe just keeping pace, but not really, becoming an organization that is, really 21st century thinking, which I believe is an organization that's regenerative and purposeful and actually doing good for society. What are your thoughts on that around purpose-led, purpose-driven? Because so many examples out there say that those companies actually do better financially as well. So what is your thinking around that?
So a couple of things here. If you are talking, what I notice, and that is a funny thing, is people who are talking about digital transformation, and you talk to companies who are doing digital transformation, it is always a project. And then I'm saying, hey guys, if that project is over, where are you then? Because a project always has an end, whereas the digitization is not ending. So if you in that mindset that you can do a project and do digital transformation, well, you know exactly where that company is in their mindset. Namely, they are in that what we call that linear mindset, predictable. So project over, we have some KPIs that we can check, and well, what Tony Saldana says, well, it's 80% is failing, so probably a couple of those check boxes are not ticked, and the project is down the drain. But because we are trying to freeze it. It is a project, and in that project we have to achieve A, B, C, whatever. But the world is flowing further, but it is also flowing further in a faster pace. And you always have to, if you digitize, you have to think about what is next. And does what I'm building now, the infrastructure, my software, whatever, does it accommodate what is coming? And that what is coming is missing in organizations, because that are the people who are looking in crystal balls, in the thinking of companies. The biggest problems here are twofold. That is, one, companies who are doing the digital transformation, I think they are not ethical because they know better, and they should warn companies, well, this is not a project, that is something longer. And on the other hand, it is usually the board of a company that set the borders, that set the fences of this is what we are going to digitize and not more, because we cannot pay it, or for whatever reason. So that is one thing that I'm seeing. The other point, yes, a lot of people are talking about a purpose-driven future. And if you have a purpose, then you are going to make it. Well, that's not really true. Firstly, you have to understand what a purpose is. Yeah. And because if you have a purpose, and that purpose is your core of what you are doing, then everything in that company should contribute to that purpose. Well, I have talked to a lot of companies who do have a purpose, and if you go to a certain department, they have no clue. So then I think, well, what are you doing? And having a good purpose is really, really difficult. So one of the companies that we with whom we did a sprint, the CEO said literally to me, Paul, what you did here and what your team did here was great work. I mean, really, we appreciate it. You helped us to create babies, the initiatives. But all of that, he said, cannot stand in the shadow of finding the right purpose. And as of today, they don't have the right purpose. They have many, many attempts, but it is not really something that resonates with everybody in the company. So, having said that, companies who do have a purpose, and we are usually looking at Google and at TEDx and those kind of companies. But if you really look at what is that purpose and what does that purpose mean and where that purpose bring us, and where it brought us at the moment is that Google is dominating the world in terms of using information. And what we don't know is what they are doing with the data. We don't know how the data, my data, is being used. Even if I don't tick boxes of cookies or whatever, So that is happening. So I don't know who does what with my data. I don't. And TEDx is really nice, spreading ideas worth to spread. But if you want to spread ideas, you have to go to a whole strategy of what is allowed and what is not allowed, and what they think, what kind of ideas you should express. So, yeah. I mean, what are we talking about here? So
sorry, Paul.
You have to dig. You have to dig a little bit deeper, and if you want to know more about these kind of things, I recommend everybody here to go to the come on, I forgot it. The The Social Dilemma. It is a documentary on Netflix, and I recommend everybody to watch that. And that opens your eyes, and that connects really well with the book that Amy Webb wrote, The Big Nine. So if you combine those two, then think twice.
No, absolutely. There's actually some really great documentaries that are out right now. The one thing that I did just want to comment is we've had a few comments here on YouTube. Mohammed saying adaptability to reality is really what's needed. So taking what you said, Fonz also on YouTube is saying he's listening from the Netherlands and is saying that he's excited to see how young professionals can lead. And Paul, I know you have a view on the fact that all leaders should be under the age of 50. But that's really great. So thanks everybody.
And 60% women.
And 60, exactly. I agree with you 100%. To end off today, Paul, I know you speak about entering the conversion revolution, revolution. Can you give us a bit more about what you mean by that?
Yeah. So what we see today is that a lot of technologies are converging, and exponential technologies, and that has its limitations because we only have about 20 exponential technologies. But what they are doing is converging. That means that that they get closer to each other and using strength of each other's technologies. And what I see in the middle of that is AI. AI is getting more and more important in the whole development of converging technology. So if you, for instance, and I use that example more often, if you combine nanotechnology, robot technology, and AI, you get something like nanobots. And so that is very tiny stuff with intelligence on board. But what I think, and this we don't have that much time anymore, but what is important here to understand is that AI is getting stronger and better and more advanced based on machine learning, deep learning, etc. And that is embedded now in those new technologies, right? So, and they keep learning. So take, for instance, a robot. A robot is getting more and more intelligent. And now I hear a lot, people saying a lot, technology is neutral. And here is my question. If those machines, those artifacts, those things are going around doing things and making their own decisions, how neutral is technology today? And that is one of the effects of the convergence of technology, something that we are not really addressing. So one of the things that we are doing in our company is focusing on the ethical sides of it. So we are asking critical questions about what are the consequences of these kind of developments, and not the superficial things. Oh, wow. First we think, hey, that stuff is really magic. And then we are going to use it. And now we are kind of maniacs, in using it. And you see everybody walking around in these kind of things, and they don't see you, but only how many likes they get. And then all of a sudden, it gets in a stage of toxicity. And that is where we are with a lot of technologies. And people are addicted to that. And that is one of the effects of the convergence, and powered by the smart people at the Facebooks, at the Googles of these, and Amazons and Alibaba of this world, keeping you as long as possible caught in their screen. And the longer, the better. And we forget what's going on. And those are the effects also from convergence. And I know that the accelerating and acceleration and and it's always accelerating because of convergence. But it has different consequences, and we have to address it.
Absolutely, Paul. So, I mean, I think, Paul, we could probably talk here for hours, because there really just is so much to talk about. Technology and thinking exponentially has such a positive potential in the world. Unfortunately, we do have quite a few sort of negative externalities that have come about because of technology. I'm an optimist and really believe that our future can be bright, and it requires that ethics. It requires people standing up and saying, yes, I want to do this for good. I think that is in a lot of young people as well. So Paul, I mean, it's been great to chat to you. To end off, is there anything you'd like to just end off sharing? How people can perhaps get hold of you, and just to end off the call.
Yeah, go to LinkedIn, link with me, and I post a lot of this stuff. And the last thing, Kevin, is that I'm a very positive guy, and I think that we need to understand the technology a little bit better, and the technology can do a lot. But what we have to do at the same time is that we have to share our insights, what we are doing with the technology, and not keeping ourselves away and hide ourselves in a bucket and work on a certain technology without sharing. That is, I think, one of the biggest things that I can give you guys. Be as open and transparent with technology and how you are using it. That's the only way I think, to use it in a proper way.
Absolutely. So, Paul, thanks so much for being with us. I'll definitely see you soon, online, of course, but chat to you soon. Thanks, Paul.
Pleasure. Thank you, Kevin.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
So that was Paul Epping. Really great to chat to him. As I said, we could have chatted for hours. And to all those who've been watching, who made comments, to Ariana and Moto and Mohammed, and Richard as well, thanks for the comments. Some of the questions we couldn't get to, we'll look to get to those in social after this call. But thank you so much for joining us, and we'll see you again next week, where we will be speaking to Amrita, who is based in Australia. So it'll be at a very different time. But thank you to everybody for joining us. We'll see you again soon. Thank you, everyone. Bye-bye.